This is Alcatraz versus the Shattered Lens, Book 4 in the Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians series by Brandon Sanderson. This is a young adult novel, 292 pages, and I like this one a lot better than the previous one. Lots more action, less politics, so definitely enjoyed that. Best described as Pacific Rim meets The Simpsons movie. The opening scene is teddy bears as grenades. So they try to be unique and very creative in this universe, and teddy bears as grenades is definitely one of them. And so they're all, I think most of them are non-lethal. You know, one of them knocks out technology, one of them knocks people unconscious. They just had very unique properties, and it kind of reinforced that combat is super different in this universe. You know, you think of traditional combat as trying to take out the enemy for good, like they don't wake up, they're dead, right? So in here, knocking out your opponent unconscious or even knocking them into a coma and then later waking them up means you then have subjects to rule over. So that to me alone was like, whoa, right? I mean, obviously there's going to be people that would resist, but they're outnumbered and you could just knock them into a coma again. So, you know, there's the kind of in and out of a coma thing, so that's like not a problem, and that becomes a big part of the way they do battle. So, Tuki is the capital of the Moroccan Empire, and they are one of the free kingdoms, and they're at war with the Shattered Lens. They are the frontline troops for the librarians. They want to break any type of glass. They're fanatics. They break windows, you know, anything. It doesn't have to be glasses. It doesn't have to be special glasses. Just if there's glass, they're going to break it. So they're the frontline troops, and they have giant robots. Giant robots are trying to break into the dome over Tuki, and everybody wants Tuki because the catacombs underneath have a bunch of the forgotten language, and so that's kind of the underpinning, you know, story to help find out how this all started, how the talents originated, all the technology, all the stuff is written down by a past civilization that was then forgotten. So broken by a previous Smedry with the breaking talents, you know, Alcatraz the First. And yeah, so that's really the background. Lots more action, lots more adventure. Um, Alcatraz, the main character, is heir to the Smedry line, and so the Knights of Crystallia are charged with protecting him, but they took an oath to stay out of conflicts. So, you know, they can't just rush in and defend, you know, an abandoned city or a city that's about to fall. They have to have reason to be there. And so supposedly the king of Tuki was spirited away to be kept safe, and so there aren't really any knights there. We later find out that the king is, you know, still with his people, but kind of like had a ruse or deception. But anyways, I talked about the Akoma. He meets his cousin on the way. She's a pilot, and her Smedry talent is that she's really bad at math. And so that goes in some ways really good for them, and in some ways really bad. I think there were 6 giant robots when they showed up. She talked about her talent, and then there were 8. So, you know, it can go either way, up or down. And that was a neat twist to the story. The chapter naming is very unique, and I think the reasoning that was given was for if there's any librarians reading it, it would drive them crazy, right? So this is chapter 144, and we are on page 72, right? That doesn't seem right. We got chapter no exclamation point. So yeah, definitely very creative chapter names. So that was a fun part. We talked about the giant robots, and really this is about Alcatraz maturing. He shows up and he's really in a position to become the chief defender. Turns out the king and the queen all get knocked into a coma, and he ends up being the next in line. He becomes king. He has to decide, do I, you know, order the kingdom to set down arms, or do we keep fighting? And, you know, he, you know, doesn't want this responsibility, you know, talks about it. and all about him growing up and that kind of thing. Turns out he made the right decision. He was able to help defend Tuki Tuki, kind of, but I don't want to give it all away. And so there's definitely a turning point here in the growth of the character, the main character, but also what happens with the Smidri talents. There's a bestower's lens, so like he uses it to help his people jump higher, run faster, and it's all like through the dome. So like he's got assistants taking out robots, and he's like giving them extra abilities. He's like jumping, and then they can jump higher. He's running with them, and they can run faster with the bestower's lens. So very cool. He ends up using the bestower's lens with his talent. He tricks his talent into traveling into the diamond that's on the back of Bastile's neck that connects all the Knights of Crystallia. I have no idea what's going to happen. I've even read the next book, but the Smidri talents stop working. So the breaking talent, the dark talent, it's released now. So, wild card, anything can happen. But yeah, all the other Smidris just don't seem to have it working. They seem to be broken. So a quote that I really like, this is Bastille and her sister talking. Her sister is the queen of Tuki Tuki. So she is like royalty, whereas Bastille is a knight, sworn of poverty. And with all respect, young knight, we must learn to stop saying things like this. We like to pretend that what we have is better than what the librarians have. But comparisons like those and the jealousy they inspire began this war in the first place. We chose this life in Mokia not because it was primitive or advanced, but because it is what we like. The more complex your surroundings in life become, the homes, the vehicles, the things you put into your homes and your vehicles, the more time you must spend on them, and the less time you have for thought and study. That was pretty key. There's distractions in life. It's easy to look away from the things that are important, right? Family, friends, life, enjoying life, relaxing, having a good time. It's easy to get distracted and caught up with the pains and, the life, just events. So, good book, more action than the previous, and this is a huge turning point in the series. So, lots of fun and more time with his mother. So that could be, going forward, that could be a big, interesting plot line there to follow, almost like an alliance between him and his mother. So, yep, I have read the next book, so I can't say that I'm looking forward to it, but the final one comes out in just a month from now, so I am really looking forward to that one. But yes, give it a read. And as always, buy your books used.